Hey, what's going on, all my nerds and collectors alike? We are back again, once again, taking another look at a 2-pack from the 60 Amazing Years Spider-Man collection. Today we have Knull and Venom. So we're going to go ahead and get these two out of the way and bring the package in for a closer look. So we do have that digital rendering once again. I really wish they would get rid of these digital renders and just do pictures of the figures, because in light of some recent controversy on Twitter today, Mystique from the VHS line, they revealed that she was on a completely different body and then said that they reverted it back to another package as a mistake, and that is just a lie. Clearly they are starting to mislead with what is on the packaging. Gore is another prime example. The figure has pins. They revealed a body that was pinless on the packaging art. So a lot of people are having a lot of issues with that. So am I. I don't like how they're trying to kind of mislead customers with that kind of design, but we'll get into that another day, I suppose. For now, you do have Venom with his giant symbiote dragon wings, as well as Knull. On this side of the package, you do just have that up and down digital render. On this side, however, we do have some very nice comic art. I do like these little panels here that they keep giving us with the comic art. On the back, once again, we have more digital renders, also showcasing the accessories that the figures come with. On the top, you have that Spider-Man 60 Amazing Years symbol. On the bottom, you got your barcodes, warnings, legalese, all the fun stuff, as well as that half portrait of Spider-Man. So that is the packaging. Let's get into the figures. First up, we will be taking a look at Knull. So getting him in closer here and taking away the Necro Sword. We do have a very nice head sculpt for Knull here. We do have nice red pupils inside of black eyes. Or I suppose that could be red irises. There is no pupil technically painted on. But anyway, we do have a very nice sculpt. For some reason, to me, he's giving off Dracula vibes. If you guys have seen Bram Stoker's Dracula with young Keanu Reeves, that's the kind of vibe that he's giving me, like when Dracula's in his old form with that weird, like, whitish blonde hair that he's got. But anyway, here we have our King in Black with his neutral face. On the chest here, we do have that very nice symbiote symbol, which I believe in the comics was said that this is not a spider, this is actually meant to be a dragon. Hence why Venom at the end of this story gets dragon wings. We do have some nice sculpted wrapping going down the arms here, as well as on the inside it kind of looks like muscle fibers for the sculpt. Which I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, so I have not actually read King in Black, but I do know a little bit about the storyline. I believe that all of this armor is actually Knull's symbiote, because he created the first symbiote from what I believe, if I remember correctly, was the blood of a Celestial that he used to create the Necrosword, which was the first symbiote that he then used to bond to him, because Knull existed before the Celestials, hence why he is the King in Black. He was king of the domain, like, before the Big Bang, and then when the Celestials came around and the universe was created, and his Dark Empire was kind of encroached on, he wasn't too happy about it, so when we first see him, he's already taking down Celestials because he's pissed off. Here we have his skirt kind of coming down there from his tunic, all tattered and worn. It would have been cool to see some dry brushing or some paint, you know, just to kind of show how worn that was. We do have that more muscle fiber look again on the legs, and then that translates down into some armor on his shins, and if you can see that, it does have the dinged and worn texture as well. On the back, not a lot, just because, you know, it's Hasbro. They hate painting the backs of figures because, ooh, I don't know. We do still have some sculpting for the armor and such like that. At least the belt does go all the way around, as well as the wraps on the arms there, so it's not like they skimped out. There's just not a lot to the figure. Before we get into articulation this time, I do want to get into accessories, because we do also have an alternate head sculpt for Knull here with his more venomized look, I like to call it, with the sharp teeth showing off. And those eyes, to me at least, seem a little bit brighter than the other head on this one. Let's see here. Yeah, they do look to be, at least to me, a little bit shinier, as if he's kind of powered up some because he's angry. So that's pretty cool. You do have a little bit of that. You can see there's like printed shading around the top of the eye there. So that's pretty nice. And we also have a flowing hair sculpt there, which is actually completely different to the hair that they used on this one. So at least they didn't just take the same hair sculpt and then change the head. And this just pop on nice and easy. You just pop this head off, pop this one on. No hassle at all. For the Necro Sword, it's a little bit bland, but it is nice to have like the red tendrils and things showing up. And you do also have some gray there, at least under the late. It's easier to see that some of the black tendrils that are sculpted are actually more of like a matte black, whereas the base is glossy, and then you have the red on that. And then we do have brown wrapping around the grip there, and on the pommel you have a couple of tendrils sculpted in there. So it would have been nice to have like a little bit more shading or something, and this is very flimsy, so if it was just a little bit stiffer, that'd be nice. But hey, at least we have the Necro Sword. Getting into articulation for this guy. So his head at the top is on a dumbbell joint, as well as the bottom of his neck. So with the symbiote head attached, he can look up that far. He can look down that far, as well as he has a good amount of tilt, and of course rotation. And then we will remove that head, and with the regular head, he can look up that far, and down that far. So he does get some more range with this head, it seems. His shoulder pads here are attached via a little tab around the joint, so these will rotate with his shoulder 160 degrees. Just be careful because they will try to get caught up a little bit. His arms bend up that far. He does have bicep rotation. He's got pinless double jointed elbows that move in about that far. He does only have one pair of hands, so no swappable hands, but they do rotate 360 degrees. On his gripping hand here on the left, it is a horizontal hinge. On his sword-wielding hand, it is a vertical hinge, so that's very nice to see that they do have the different hinges of that. This armor is a softer overlay, so he does have an ab crunch. He can crunch forward that far. He crunches back that far, so that's pretty good. There is a waist rotation, and that belt moves along with it. His hips, the skirt is kind of stiff, so it doesn't really get out of the way too much. So he can kick forward this far. We'll go ahead and move the arm back. He kicks out that far. There is a thigh rotation. Double jointed pinless knees can get you that far. Ankles kick down all the way. Up a little bit, not too bad. And there is ankle rotation. So this guy, he is a little unwieldy. I think Just Jay Hernandez kind of said it best, though, that Knull does not bend to you, you will bend to Knull. Pretty fitting description of this guy's articulation to me. Obviously, he's not terrible. He is very large and a little bit cumbersome, so it's more or less you're going to bend to the poses that he wants you to get him in, as opposed to the dynamic poses that you may want. But once again, not awful, and very cool to have this guy in action figure form. Now moving on to what I believe is the main attraction from this set. Once again, very cool to have a Knull figure, but let's be honest here, we were wanting a comic Venom on the movie sculpt, which we now have. And we also get these giant bat wings, which I have to have him all the way back just to kind of get these on screen here. And now these are also in their collapsed state. These do articulate outwards like that. So that's about as far as they extend. And just for reference, these wings, so these symbiote dragon wings that look a lot like bat wings, which is why it's called them bat wings, I apologize. But speaking of bat wings, they are actually about the same size as a real-life bat's wingspan. Just to keep that in mind. So these wings are massive. And because they are so massive, I am actually going to remove these wings for the rest of this review. I just wanted to give you guys a look at Venom with the wings on. My review station, sadly, is a little too small to have these on him for the duration of this video. So to remove the wings, you do just kind of pull like that. They are pretty stiff in there, but they are also kind of heavy, so that makes sense. As you can see, I just shook the whole review station just popping these out. But we will go ahead and get a closer look at these wings real quick. So like I said, they are articulated via a pin in the back of Venom, as well as a hinge attached to that. And then when you get them in the package, you actually do assemble the two halves here, so they do open up slightly, and then they will collapse back down, so you can have them in a couple of different poses there. They do rotate on the pin, of course, and then obviously they will hinge on that pin as well. So that's pretty cool. They are a bit soft. Honestly, these could have been a little bit stiffer because I do have an issue where my wings kind of try to droop a little bit if I leave Venom in a specific flight pose for too long. But these things are fantastic and not something I don't know if any of us actually expected to get. These also do have some very nice paint. As you can see here with the light hitting it, there is shading, so there is a lighter red at like the ends of each section of the wing flap there. You do also have some tattering, so he has a little bit of wear and tear on these wings. And then on the back, they are kind of textured to feel a little bit leathery, so that is pretty cool. And you get to see that nice kind of construction structure of the wing all the way through. So that's pretty cool. And then I can say the exact same for the other side. They are not exact mirrors, I do not believe. No, okay, so you can see there that there are different holes on each side, so they are uniquely sculpted. We will go ahead and get these out of the way and take a closer look at Venom here. Now, as I said before, this is the movie Venom sculpt. However, I do not have the previous movie Venom, just as I was never able to find him, and I don't feel like paying a very large price markup on the secondary market just to acquire a figure that, in my opinion, I didn't want anyway. However, I do know that this mold that they used is fantastic, and now we have it on a comic Venom, so here it is. Getting a closer look here at Venom's first head, this is his tongue out head. And as you can see, there's tendrils and bumps and just kind of some icky stuff all over his tongue there. So that's pretty cool. And that is slightly glossy compared to the rest of his mouth. As you can see, his mouth is open there, kind of having the crease of the jaw. So you do get to see muscle sculpt on both sides. You do have his sharp fangs protruding as he's sticking his tongue out and threatening to eat you. Unlike poor Prime vs. Prime, I have in fact been lucky with this set, and I have both of my eyes painted. I have seen some pretty horrible openings of these where the spider symbol wasn't there, the hands didn't have paint. Like I said, Prime vs. Prime was missing an entire eye on his sculpt on one of his. So, Hasbro, once again, I'm going to say it one last time, the quality control, especially with these new blind bag packaging, like, figures, you gotta fix it. There's no getting around it. It just needs work. I do want to go ahead and give you guys a warning here. If you can see, there is a little bit of paint rub from the wings onto the back of the spider symbol, so do be aware of that. If you have your wings sitting more flush against him, like if you have them standing up, they will kind of rub onto that white. I don't know how well you can see that. There you go. So there's a little bit of pink on my spider symbol now. Not awful, but something I did notice after some time. We will go ahead and get into articulation, though. Venom's head is on a little dumbbell, and his head is also kind of soft, so there is some wiggle room. He can look up that far. He can bury his chin. Of course, he has tilt. and rotation. Now, the only thing I honestly think they could have done better on this body is butterfly joints. Butterfly joints would have been really nice to see, but honestly, I have not found myself really missing that articulation point. I know we are getting butterfly joints on another comic Venom we are getting at the end of the year, that being the Venom 3-pack version that is on that Omega Red body. I do have that pre-ordered, so whenever that decides to come out, they say Amazon at least has it estimated for an early December release. So whenever that releases, I will go ahead and do a review of him as well, and we will bring this guy back in for comparisons. But we do have a 360 at the shoulder. His shoulders do extend slightly past 90, but you could just call it an even 90. A bicep swivel. You do have double jointed elbows, and sadly, because this is an older sculpt, there are pins. However, they are all black, so it is a little bit easier to kind of miss them and ignore them. He does have 2 sets of hands, and on both, they rotate and have an horizontal hinge there. He has his diaphragm joint, which alone will let you crunch forward that far. It will crunch back that far. Of course, this does also grant the rotation as well as tilt. And then this being that new style of diaphragm and upside down crunch, which I really wish we could see on almost every figure, because this system of articulation is just, love it. Anyway, with the regular crunch, crunches forward that far, and back that far, and then of course all together here. Now my crunch does stick a little bit, it does have some more give, but I think the detent in it is not quite placed right, so I do have some give there, you can see, but it doesn't quite want to get in. But still, that is a really nice crunch forward. Crunching back, equally as nice. A lot of good range there. His hips kick forward that far, so a little bit past 90, so that's pretty good. Don't really kick back at all just because of the sculpt. You do have side kick that far with thigh rotation. Mine is a little stiff. Of course, he has double jointed knees that can kick himself in the back, so if Wish Robo does a review, he will of course love that he can kick himself. He loves that back range. Now, yes, we do have the toad feet, but honestly, I think this is more of like a raw symbiote kind of looking Venom, so these don't bother me. Would it have been nice to see a more like boot style foot? Yes, but they cheaped out a little bit, reused that movie Venom foot, and honestly, I'm not too upset about it. Anyway, his ankles kick back all the way. Can kick forward a little bit, leaves a little bit to be desired, not the farthest we've seen, but not terrible. And of course, what would a Marvel Legend be without that ankle tilt? Getting into his accessories, so I've already shown off his dragon wings. Venom here also does come included with an alternate head, which I will go ahead and replace for you. Now this is the head sculpt without the tongue showing, so this is more of just a teeth gritted kind of head, which is also looking very, very nice. Nice, just neutral Venom kind of head sculpt there. And you do also have a set of fists, because these are just movie Venom's hands with the extra paint on. Not an issue for me. Of course, these just swap out super easy. So he has his clawed, and now he has his fists. Easy enough. Getting into some comparisons, we will start with a little bit bigger and work our way down. We do have that Venom next to Knull. Now both of these are some pretty big boys here, so Knull is actually taller than Venom even, and this Venom is a very tall figure. But we will go ahead and get those guys back as far as we can. And here they are with Rhino. So Rhino to the horns is about the same height as Knull, so anybody who picked up that Retro Collection Rhino, if you measure it up right to the horns, you'll know about how tall Knull is. And then we'll go ahead and move him over just next to Venom. And to the top of his head, he's about as tall as Venom. So that's kind of their comparison there. We'll go ahead and get him out of the way. Now this is a figure I have actually yet to review. This will be next up on the roster. But I did want to show him off with the new Dr. Octopus. So that is Doc Ock next to Venom. And as you can see, he barely comes up to his bicep. And then Doc Ock next to Knull. Once again, very short. Here we have Knull and Venom next to Sandman and Hammerhead. So that's how they stack up with some a little bit bigger civilian-esque characters there. Go ahead and get those two out of the way. Here we have them with Electro, which if Electro ever turned against Knull, that'd actually be kind of helpful because we all know that the electricity heroes such as Thor and Storm were pretty effective against Knull in that fight. They are also with the retro-carded Shocker. Getting these two out of here. We'll get them with some goblins. So there we have the retro-carded Hobgoblin and the retro-carded Green Goblin. So actually you can see that Green Goblin is a little bit taller than some of the other villains there, even though he kind of feels smaller in hand, so that's kind of interesting to see. And last but not least, for the villains side, we will get them next to some symbiotes. So here we have the previous comic Venom on that Hyperion body, and that new Carnage with the Maximum Carnage head there, because that's actually the little swirl that the characters get when Knull takes over these symbiotes on their bodies, so that's just that look with them. And just to swap that around, so you can see that compared to that old comic Venom, this new Venom is quite tall, which I personally enjoy. And there he is next to Carnage, which I like Venom being more of a big and bulky kind of character versus Carnage being more lithe and nimble. Because, you know, Cletus Cassidy is a very lean, skinny guy. So that's pretty cool to see. Now let's go ahead and get them compared to some Spidey characters, of course. We will start with the civilian Peter Parker and Ben Reilly, because why not? Go ahead and get those two out of here. Let's do the Parker Industries Pizza Spider-Man body, as well as the PS5 Miles Morales, because we know that Miles and Peter are both going to be fighting Venom in the new Insomniac Spider-Man 2 game, so that'll be pretty cool to see. So that's how those two stack up. Getting them out of here. And last but not least, here we have them with the retro-carded Spider-Man and black costume Spider-Man. So these two especially looking really good next to each other. As you know, Peter Parker got the symbiote, and then Eddie Brock got a hold of it, and that is how Venom was born. So very, very nice comparisons there. Go ahead and doing our final thoughts. This 2-pack is really, really nice. Higher price point. This was about $85. So that is a big point of contention for a lot of collectors. Honestly, it was a hard pill to swallow. This pack, luckily for me at least, was actually a birthday gift. If I was purchasing this alone, I honestly am not sure that I would make that purchase again. I do really like both of these figures. Both of these offerings are fantastic. But as I have said, personally, I am not as attached to Knull as I am to Venom. And for me, this was more of I wanted a nice Venom, and Knull was just a really cool throw-in. So if you've got a different mindset of you wanted both of these figures, or you were super excited about Knull and then Venom was a throw-in, or however you want to do it, I'm not upset by having the 2-pack. Like I said, once again, I do really enjoy it. I just don't know if I would swallow that $85 pill again, especially since we're getting a Venom 3-pack of another comic Venom on the Omega Red body that I know a lot of people have wanted, with Riot, and I'm sorry, the other symbiote is just escaping my mind at this time, but that other female symbiote that is a part of that as well, that's a 3-pack for the same price. So, you know, that's kind of a toss-up depending on what kind of version you want. Like I said, I'm getting both. I actually have that other 3-pack on pre-order, so we will do comparisons when that comes in. But I think it would be worth it. It's just a very hard pill to swallow just because these prices are just kind of getting out of hand nowadays. So we gotta start kind of being picky with the prices that we're willing to buy them at. Kind of, you know, it's more of a pick and choose era. I believe the golden age of Hasbro Marvel Legends might be coming to an end with the couple of decisions that they have started to make. But I don't want to leave this on a negative note, so I think these guys are freaking just hella cool. If you think they're cool, go ahead and pick them up. I can almost guarantee that you will not be dissatisfied with these figures. Both of these pieces are an excellent addition to the collection. Stay safe, everybody, and happy collecting.